Maya Chen's hands were shaking so badly she could barely hold the phone. She stood in the sterile hospital corridor, fluorescent lights buzzing overhead, and stared at the contact she'd blocked 8 years ago. Her thumb hovered over the name, Calder Rivers. Inside the room, behind her, her 7-year-old son Oliver was sleeping, tubes running from his small arms, monitors beeping steadily. The doctor's words still echoed in her head like a death sentence: aplastic anemia. Severe. Without a bone marrow transplant from a close genetic match, we're looking at weeks, maybe months. What about Oliver's father? Dr. Monroe had asked, her voice gentle but urgent. Maya had felt her throat close. He's not in our lives. Ms. Chun, if there's any way to contact him, you need to try. A biological parent is almost always the best match. This is life or death. Life or death. Maya looked through the small window in the door at Oliver's pale face, at the way his chest rose and fell with mechanical precision aided by oxygen. Life or death. Her pride, her anger, her 8 years of justified resentment, none of it mattered more than that. She unblocked the number. Typed, "This is Maya Chun. I need to talk to you. It's urgent. It's about your son." Her finger trembled over the send button. Every instinct screamed that calling Calder Rivers was a mistake. He'd abandoned her once. He'd ignored her calls when she'd needed him most. He'd moved to New York and built an empire while she'd raised their child alone in a Seattle apartment barely big enough for two. But Oliver's sleeping face decided it. She hit send. The message delivered. Read receipt appeared almost immediately. Then her phone rang, the screen lighting up with his name. Maya's breath caught. She answered. Maya. Calder's voice was exactly as she remembered, deep, careful, controlled. But there was something else now. Shock. "I got your message." "What are you talking about?" "What son?" "Our son." Her voice was steadier than she felt. "His name is Oliver. He's 7 years old. And he's dying unless you help him." Silence. Then, "I don't understand. You're saying I have a son? Why wouldn't you tell me?" "I tried, Calder." The words came out sharp, cutting. 8 years ago. I called you. 3 times. I left messages. You never called back. You changed your number when you moved to New York." The message was pretty clear. He stopped. "Started again. I was in a bad place. The startup was collapsing. I was working 20-hour days. I changed phones I lost. Maya, I didn't know." "Well, now you do." She had no patience for excuses, not when Oliver was 3 floors up fighting for his life. "He has aplastic anemia. Severe. His bone marrow isn't producing blood cells. He needs a transplant. The doctors say a biological parent is the best match. So I need to know, are you going to help him, or do I start calling donor registries and praying?" "Where are you?" "Seattle. Harbor View Medical Center." "I'm in New York. I can be there tomorrow morning. First flight out." "Tomorrow." Maya laughed, bitter. "Right. Well, Oliver's been waiting 7 years. What's one more day?" "Maya, I'm coming. I promise. I need time to process this." "We don't have time. Just get here." She hung up before he could respond, her heart hammering. She'd done it. She'd opened the door she'd sworn would stay closed forever. And now there was nothing to do but wait and hope the man who destroyed her once wouldn't destroy her son by not showing up. Maya walked back into Oliver's room, pulled the chair close to his bed, and took his small hand in hers. His fingers were cool, his pulse visible in the thin skin of his wrist. "I called your dad," she whispered, even though he couldn't hear her through the medication-induced sleep. "I don't know if he'll come. I don't know if he'll be a match. But I tried, baby. I tried." 18 hours later, Maya jolted awake in the same chair, her neck aching, when someone knocked on the door. She looked up, disoriented, and her heart stopped. Calder Rivers stood in the doorway. He looked different, older, more tired, his dark hair showing gray at the temples, wearing jeans and a rumpled jacket instead of the suits she remembered. He carried an overnight bag and looked like he hadn't slept. His eyes found hers first, held for one electric second of 8 years compressed into a glance, then moved past her to the hospital bed. To Oliver. Maya watched Calder's face as he saw his son for the first time. Watched the color drain from his cheeks. Watched his hand grip the doorframe like he needed it to stay upright. Watched his lips part, but no sound come out. Oliver had Calder's eyes. His jawline. The same way his hair grew at the temples. Features Calder saw in the mirror every morning, now reflected in this small stranger hooked up to machines. "Hi," Calder said finally, his voice rough. "You came." Maya didn't know why she sounded surprised. Maybe she'd expected him to come up with an excuse. A work emergency. A conflict. The same patterns that had defined him before. "Of course I came." He stepped into the room slowly, like approaching something fragile that might shatter. Is it okay if I come closer?" Maya nodded, not trusting her voice. Calder moved to the other side of Oliver's bed, set his bag down carefully, and just stared. His hand lifted like he wanted to touch Oliver's hair, then fell back to his side. He was shaking. "He looks like you," Maya said quietly. "He looks like you too." The way his mouth, Calder stopped, cleared his throat. "What do the doctors say?" "They say if we find a match, if the transplant takes, he has a good chance." Without it, she couldn't finish the sentence. "Then we find a match." Calder's voice was firm, certain. The voice of a man who'd built companies and made impossible things happen. "I'll get tested today. Right now. Whatever he needs." As if on cue, Oliver stirred. His eyes fluttered open, unfocused at first, then landing on his mother. "Mom." "I'm here, baby." Then Oliver's gaze shifted to the stranger on the other side of his bed. His brow furrowed in confusion. Calder knelt down, so he was eye level with Oliver. "Hi, Oliver," Calder said softly, his voice careful, like he was afraid of saying the wrong thing. "My name is Calder. Your mom called me because you're sick and the doctors think I might be able to help you. Is that okay?" Oliver looked at his mother, a question in his tired eyes. Maya reached across the bed and smoothed his hair back from his forehead. "It's okay, sweetheart. Calder is someone who cares about you very much." "Are you my dad?" Oliver's voice was small but direct. 7 years old and already cutting through pretense to truth. The question hung in the air. Calder's throat worked. He glanced at Maya, who gave the smallest nod. "Yes," Calder said, his voice breaking slightly. "I am. And I know you don't know me, and that's my fault. But I'm here now, and I'm going to do everything I can to help you feel better. Okay." Oliver studied him with the brutal honesty of childhood. "Okay. Are you going to stay? After I'm better?" The question landed like a blow. Maya watched Calder's face, watched him understand that this wasn't just about bone marrow. This was about every day after, every choice, every moment of showing up or disappearing. "Yes," Calder said. "If you want me to, I'll stay." Oliver seemed to accept this. He reached out his small hand. Calder took it, his large hand engulfing Oliver's completely, and Maya saw tears gather in Calder's eyes. "You have the same hands as me," Oliver observed. "Big hands." Calder laughed, choked and wet. Yeah, I guess we do." Dr. Monroe appeared in the doorway, tablet in hand. "Mr. Rivers? If you're ready, we can start the donor testing now." Calder stood, releasing Oliver's hand reluctantly. "I'm ready. I'll be right back," he told Oliver. Then to Maya, "I'm not going anywhere." The next 3 hours were a blur of blood draws, medical history, consent forms. Maya sat with Oliver, reading to him from a book about dinosaurs, while Calder was somewhere in the hospital being poked and prodded and tested. When Calder returned, he found them in the small hospital cafeteria. Maya was picking at a sandwich she had no appetite for. He slid into the chair across from her, 2 cups of terrible coffee in hand. "They said it'll be a few hours for results," he said, pushing 1 cup toward her. "Thank you." She wrapped her hands around the cup, but didn't drink. They sat in awkward silence. 8 years of absence pressed between them. "Why didn't you try harder to reach me?" Calder asked finally, his voice low. "After those 3 calls." Maya's head snapped up. "Are you seriously asking me that?" "I'm not trying to. I just want to understand." "I left you 3 messages, Calder." 3. When you didn't call back, when you changed your number and moved across the country, I understood. You didn't want to be found. You'd made your choice. I was drowning, Maya. The company was failing. I was sleeping 3 hours a night. I wasn't in a place to what? Be a human being? Return a phone call. Her voice was rising. Other people in the cafeteria glanced over. She lowered it, but the anger remained. I was 23 years old and pregnant and terrified, and you were too busy failing at your startup to even check your messages? I didn't know you were pregnant. Because you wouldn't answer your phone. You think I wanted to leave that news in a voicemail? I tried, Calder. I tried to tell you. And when you didn't call back, I had to make a choice. Was I going to spend my pregnancy chasing a man who'd already left? Or was I going to focus on building a life for my child? Our child. My child. For 7 years, he's been mine. I was there for his first word, his first step, his first day of school. I was there when he had nightmares, and when he asked why he didn't have a dad like the other kids. Where were you? Calder's jaw worked. Building a company. Making money. Being exactly the kind of person you said I was, someone who cared more about success than people. And did it make you happy? All that success. He looked away. No. They sat in silence again, but it felt different now. Heavier. I should have tried harder, Calder said quietly. Even if I was drowning, I should have called back. You deserved better than silence. I don't need your apology, Calder. I need you to be here for Oliver. Can you do that? Yes. Even when it's hard. Even when it interferes with work. Even when it means being uncomfortable and not knowing what to do. Yes. Because I won't let you break his heart the way you broke mine. Calder met her eyes. I won't. I promise. Maya wanted to believe him. But promises were easy. It was keeping them that mattered. Dr. Monroe found them an hour later. Her face was unreadable as she approached their table. Mr. Rivers, Ms. Chun. We have the results. They both stood. Maya's heart hammered. You're a match, Dr. Monroe said, and Maya's knees nearly buckled with relief. Not perfect, but close enough. We can proceed with the harvest and transplant. We'd like to schedule the procedure as soon as possible. Tomorrow, if you're agreeable. Yes, Calder said immediately. Whatever he needs. Whatever the timeline is. The procedure will require you to stay in Seattle for at least 2 weeks, Dr. Monroe continued. The initial recovery, the monitoring, ensuring Oliver's body accepts the transplant. Can you commit to that? Calder didn't hesitate. I'll stay as long as necessary. Dr. Monroe nodded. Good. We'll start prep work this afternoon. Mr. Rivers, you'll need to be admitted tonight for pre-surgical protocols. Ms. Chun, I recommend you get some rest. Tomorrow is going to be a long day. After Dr. Monroe left, Maya and Calder stood in the cafeteria, the weight of what came next settling over them. I need to make a call, Calder said. To my office. Let them know I'll be out for a while. They won't be happy. I don't care. He pulled out his phone, scrolled to a contact. Jordan? It's me. I need you to clear my schedule for the next 2 weeks. Maybe longer. Maya could hear Jordan's voice through the phone, high-pitched with alarm. Mr. Rivers, you have the investor presentation on Thursday, the board meeting Friday, Cancel all of it. Reschedule. Handle it. Sir, the investors are flying in from. Jordan, I have a son. I just found out I have a son, and he's sick, and I'm the only one who can help him. So the investors can wait. The board can wait. Everything can wait. Do you understand? A pause. Then, yes, sir. I'll take care of it. Calder hung up and looked at Maya. She was staring at him. What? He asked. You just told your company to wait. You've never done that before. Not once in all the time I knew you. Things are different now. Are they? Or is this just the crisis response? The emergency mode that makes you show up until things go back to normal? Maya, because I've seen this before, Calder. You're great in a crisis. You're great when there's a problem to solve, a challenge to overcome. But what about the day-to-day? What about the boring parts? The homework and the bedtime stories and the parent-teacher conferences? I don't know, Calder admitted. I've never done any of that. But I want to learn, if you'll let me. The surgery happened at dawn. Maya sat in the waiting room while they put Calder under anesthesia and extracted bone marrow from his hip. She tried to sleep in the uncomfortable plastic chair, but couldn't. Every time she closed her eyes, she saw Oliver's pale face, heard the monitors beeping their mechanical rhythm. Dr. Monroe appeared 3 hours later. The extraction went perfectly. We got everything we need. Mr. Rivers is in recovery. He'll be sore for a few days, but he's fine. We'll begin Oliver's transplant this afternoon. Maya nodded, unable to speak around the knot in her throat. You should see him, Dr. Monroe said gently. Mr. Rivers. He's asking for you. Calder was in a recovery room, propped up in bed, an 4 in his arm. He looked pale and exhausted, but he smiled when Maya walked in. They said it went well, he said, his voice slightly slurred from the anesthesia. It did. Thank you for doing this. You don't have to thank me. He's my son. A son you didn't know existed 3 days ago. Calder was quiet for a moment. Can I ask you something? What was he like? As a baby? As a toddler? All the years I missed. Will you tell me? Maya hesitated. Then she sat in the chair beside his bed and began to talk. She told him about Oliver's first word, which was mama, about how he'd started walking at 14 months by pulling himself up on the coffee table and taking 3 wobbly steps before falling on his bottom and laughing, about his obsession with dinosaurs when he was 4, how he'd insisted on wearing his T-Rex costume to the grocery store for 2 months straight, about his first day of kindergarten when he'd been so brave, walking into the classroom without crying even though she could tell he was scared, about how he loved to draw, filling notebooks with pictures of dragons and spaceships and families, always families with a mom and dad and kid, the family he'd wished for. Calder listened to every word, and Maya watched tears slide down his face. I'm sorry, he said when she finished. I'm so sorry I missed all of that. You can't get it back, Calder. Those years are gone. I know. But maybe I can be there for what comes next, if you'll let me. Before Maya could answer, a nurse appeared. Ms. Chun, we're ready to start Oliver's transplant. Would you like to be there? Maya stood immediately. Calder tried to sit up and winced, his hand going to his hip. Stay, Maya told him. Rest. I'll come get you when it's done. She spent the next 4 hours sitting beside Oliver's bed, watching Calder's bone marrow, their son's best chance at life, drip slowly into Oliver's veins through and through. The marrow was dark red, almost purple, and Maya found herself hypnotized by each drop. Oliver slept through most of it, the sedatives keeping him under. Maya held his hand and whispered to him. Stories about when he was little. Promises about when he got better. And for the first time, she allowed herself to imagine a future that included Calder. Not because she'd forgiven him, not because the hurt had disappeared, but because Oliver deserved a father who was trying. When the transplant was complete, Maya went back to Calder's room. He was awake, sitting up despite obvious discomfort. How is he? Calder asked immediately. The transplant is done. Now we wait. The next 72 hours are critical. His body needs to accept the marrow and start producing healthy blood cells. Can I see him? You should rest. You just had surgery. Maya, please. I need to see him. She couldn't argue with the raw need in his voice. She helped him into a wheelchair, despite his protests that he could walk, and pushed him down the corridor to Oliver's room. Calder stared at their son, at the new 4 line carrying his marrow, at Oliver's chest rising and falling. When I woke up this morning in New York, Calder said quietly, I was worried about an investor pitch, about profit margins and market share. And now I'm sitting here looking at a person who's half me, who I never knew existed, and none of that other stuff matters. Not even a little bit. Don't romanticize this, Calder. Being a parent isn't just the big moments. It's not just the crises and the revelations. It's every single day. It's patience when you have none left. It's showing up even when you're tired. It's putting someone else first, always. I know that. Do you? Because the Calder I knew 8 years ago couldn't put anything before his ambition. Maybe I'm not that person anymore. Maybe. Or maybe you just think you've changed because everything feels intense right now. What happens in 3 months, when Oliver is healthy and the crisis is over? When it's just regular life, homework and bedtime and teaching him to tie his shoes. When there's no dramatic gesture to make, just the quiet, boring work of being present. Calder turned to look at her. I guess you'll have to give me the chance to prove it. Over the next 3 days, they lived in the hospital. Maya slept in the chair beside Oliver's bed. Calder stayed in his recovery room, but appeared every few hours moving stiffly to check on Oliver. On day 2, Oliver woke up more alert. Calder was there, reading from a book about space that he'd had Jordan overnight from New York. Did you know, Calder read, that there are more stars in the universe than grains of sand on all the beaches on Earth? Really? Oliver's voice was weak but interested. Really? And some of those stars have planets around them, which means somewhere out there might be another kid lying in a hospital bed, listening to their dad read to them about Earth. Oliver smiled. It was small, tired, but genuine. That's cool. You're cool, Calder said. Way cooler than some alien kid. Oliver's laugh was more of a breath, but it counted. Maya watched from the doorway, something tight in her chest loosening just slightly. On day 3, Dr. Monroe came in with news. Oliver's white blood cell count is rising. His body is accepting the transplant. This is exactly what we wanted to see. The relief was so intense Maya had to sit down. Calder, standing next to Oliver's bed, closed his eyes and seemed to be praying or gathering himself. He's not out of the woods yet, Dr. Monroe cautioned. We need to monitor him for weeks, watch for rejection or infection. But this is a very good sign. That night, for the first time in 4 days, Maya left the hospital. Calder insisted. Go home. Shower. Sleep in an actual bed. I'll stay with him. I promise I won't leave. Calder. Maya, you've been here for 96 hours straight. You're exhausted. Let me do this. Let me be the one who stays. She wanted to argue, but she was so tired she could barely think straight. If anything changes, I'll call you immediately. Go. Maya went home to her small apartment. It felt strange and empty. She stood in Oliver's room, looking at his unmade bed, his drawings taped to the walls, his toy dinosaurs lined up on the shelf. She picked up one of the drawings, a family portrait Oliver had made last year. 3 stick figures holding hands. Mom in the middle, Oliver on one side, and on the other side, a taller figure with a question mark where the face should be. Dad, she'd asked when she saw it. I don't know what he looks like, Oliver had said matter-of-factly, so I put a question mark. Maya pressed the drawing to her chest and cried. For Oliver. For herself. For all the years Calder had missed. For the impossible situation they were in now, trying to build something from broken pieces. Her phone buzzed. A text from Calder. He's sleeping. Vitals are good. We're watching a documentary about sharks. Well, I'm watching. He's snoring. He snores just like you did. Despite everything, Maya smiled. 3 weeks later, Dr. Monroe cleared Oliver for discharge. His blood counts were stable. The transplant had taken. He still needed weekly checkups, careful monitoring, but he could go home. Maya was packing Oliver's things when Calder appeared in the doorway. He was moving easier now, the stiffness from the surgery mostly gone. He'd been staying at a hotel nearby, but he came to the hospital every single day, reading to Oliver, playing card games, helping him walk the hallways when he was strong enough, never missing a single visit. So, Calder said, he's really going home. He is. That's amazing. It is. She folded Oliver's pajamas, added them to the bag. Calder cleared his throat. Maya, I've been thinking about what comes next. I told you. Weekly appointments. Careful monitoring. His immune system will be compromised for months. I don't mean medically. I mean with us. With me and Oliver. And you. Maya stopped packing. What about it? I want to be part of his life. Really part of it. Not just crisis visits. I want to be there for the boring stuff too. The homework and the parent-teacher conferences and teaching him to ride a bike. All of it. From New York? No. I'm moving to Seattle. I've already started looking at apartments. Jordan can manage the New York office. I'll fly back once a month for board meetings, but my base will be here. Maya stared at him. You're moving your entire life here? For a son you barely know. For a son I want to know. And because you were right, I can't be a part-time dad from across the country. If I'm going to do this, I have to really do it. What if Oliver doesn't want you around? What if I don't? Then I'll respect that. But I'm hoping you'll give me a chance. A real one. Not because of what just happened, but because of what could happen if we try. Before Maya could answer, Oliver appeared in the doorway, wearing the street clothes Calder had brought him, moving slowly, but under his own power. Mom, Calder says I get to push the wheelchair to the car, even though I don't have to sit in it. Is that true? Maya looked at Calder, who shrugged. I bent the rules. Come on, Calder. Oliver grabbed his hand. I want to push it really fast. Slow, buddy. Your mom will kill me if you run anyone over. They walked down the corridor together, Oliver pushing the empty wheelchair with Calder's hands guiding it. Maya walking behind them carrying the bags, watching the back of her son's head next to the man who'd given him life twice now. At the hospital entrance, Oliver stopped. Calder, are you coming home with us? Maya and Calder's eyes met over Oliver's head. I have an apartment nearby, Calder said carefully. But I'll visit every day, if that's okay with your mom. Can't you just stay with us? We have a couch. Oliver looked up at Maya with those pleading eyes that had gotten him extra cookies more times than she could count. Please, Mom? He gave me his bones. That means he's family, right? Maya looked at Calder, saw the hope and fear warring in his expression. The couch is really uncomfortable, she warned. Calder's face broke into the first real smile she'd seen from him in 8 years. I don't care. 1 month later, Maya woke to the sound of laughter in her kitchen. She shuffled out of her bedroom to find Calder making pancakes, while Oliver sat at the table telling him a very detailed story about the dream he'd had involving dinosaurs and spaceships. And then the T-Rex said, I may have tiny arms, but I can still press the hyperdrive button, and everyone laughed because it was funny and also true. That is both funny and true, Calder agreed, flipping a pancake. Tiny arms, but big dreams. Morning, Maya said. Oliver jumped up. Mom, Calder's making dinosaur pancakes. Look, this one has a long neck like a brachiosaurus. She looked at the lumpy pancake on the griddle. It looked nothing like a brachiosaurus. It's perfect. Over breakfast, Oliver chattered about his upcoming school presentation. Calder listened to every word, asking questions, offering suggestions. Maya watched them. These two people with the same eyes, the same laugh, separated by years, but learning each other now. After Oliver ran to get his backpack for school, Calder turned to Maya. Thank you, he said, for letting me stay, for giving me this chance. Don't thank me yet. You're sleeping on a couch that's slowly destroying your back. Best couch I've ever slept on. Maya smiled despite herself. I'm still scared, Calder. Scared you'll leave again. Scared Oliver will get hurt. Scared I'm making a mistake. I'm scared too. Scared I'll mess this up. Scared I don't know how to be a dad. Scared I'm not enough. Then I guess we'll figure it out together. He reached across the table, offered his hand. Not romantic. Just connection. Partnership. A promise to try. Maya took it. They walked Oliver to the bus stop together, one parent on each side. Oliver reached up, took both their hands, swinging between them. This is nice, Oliver said. I like when we're all together. Me too, Calder said, squeezing his hand. Maya said nothing, but she squeezed back. The bus arrived. Oliver hugged them both, Maya first with his usual tight squeeze, then Calder, still a little uncertain, but getting more confident each day. He ran up the bus steps, found a window seat, waved frantically as the bus pulled away. Maya and Calder stood side by side, watching until the bus disappeared around the corner. Thank you, Calder said again. For this. For him. For giving me a second chance at getting this right. Just don't waste it. I won't. They walked back to the apartment in comfortable silence. Inside, evidence of 3 lives learning to braid together. Calder's laptop next to Oliver's homework, Maya's coffee mug beside Calder's, Oliver's latest drawing on the refrigerator. 3 stick figures holding hands, all of them with smiling faces this time. No more question marks. A family. Not perfect. Not without scars. But together. And sometimes that was enough. If this story reminded you that second chances are possible, that families can be rebuilt, that it's never too late to choose the people who matter most, then do me a favor. Hit that subscribe button right now, because we share stories like this every week. Stories about redemption, about courage, about people finding their way back to each other. Drop a comment below and tell me, have you ever had to give someone a second chance? Or ask for one yourself? What did you learn? And smash that like button to help this message reach someone who needs to hear that healing is possible, that trust can be rebuilt, that showing up every single day is the greatest gift you can give. Your story matters. Share it in the comments. We're listening.